Welcome to Beyblade World by Zankye, and my show starts right now. So today for our Beyblade show, we'll be continuing our awesome series where we compare the Beyblade Burst, the Japanese version, to the Korean version. And another thing I like to add is that, first off, what we'll be unboxing will be the B-14 Wyvern, the B-16 Red Launcher, and the B-23 Xcalibur Force Extreme. And a few other details I just want to add before we continue with this video. First thing I like to address, the Korean versions, they're not fake, they're legit. We're just comparing, showing the differences between them. And also you could maybe expect next week some surprises with Burst. So anyways, let's move on to the comparison. So now I'll start a comparison with the B-16 Beyblade Red Launcher. So here are both of the boxes. Now we'll first start with the Takara box. First off, before I even continue, this is the Japanese version, and this is the Korean version. So let's first start off with the Japanese version. So the packages almost look completely identical, but as we can see right here, for the Japanese version, only has a Takara logo, has the Japanese writing, and Bay Launcher red. And then after, for the Korean version, almost the exact same thing with the Korean writing. Ages 6 and plus right there, and you can also see the Young Toys logo right there. And that's pretty much it for the front. There's only a few differences. There's only a few differences for the front. Oh, this is close to the microphone. Okay, let's just read. So now starting off, we'll be doing the B-16 Red Launcher, and now I'll say which version is which. This is the Japanese version, and this is the Korean version. So let's first start off with the Japanese version. So the Japanese version of the box starts off, it has the Takara logo, only the Takara logo there, has the Japanese writing on there, B-16 Bay Launcher red. Moving on to the Korean version, has the Korean writing on there, ages 6 and plus logo there, and also has the Young Toys logo along with the Takara logo. That's only the really much differences for the front. We'll be now moving on to the back. So now at the back of the boxes, once again, this is the Japanese version and this is the Korean version. So let's first start off with the Japanese version. So Japanese version, you know, you can see all the warnings there, a lot of warnings on there and stuff like that. Advertised the Bay logger. You can also see the launcher being used and such things as that. Now for the Korean version, almost the exact same thing, except with some Korean writing, and also it has a little banner there on the bottom, which actually I believe it's in the front of the box. Also, there's no advertisement for the Bay logger, because I don't think they're going to make a Bay logger. They're not going to make a Bay logger. There's also a difference in the warnings. And that pretty much does it for the back, so let's compare the two launchers now. So we'll be comparing the inside of the boxes. So right here is the Japanese version, and here's the Korean version. So almost, there's a few differences here. The Japanese version has its warnings and such things like that, instructions, and there is a little code you can scan at the bottom. While for the Korean version, you know, they have a difference in the warnings and a little bit different on how they show the instructions. There's a little difference. You can kind of see how it has this there, but for the Japanese version it doesn't. But there's no like code at the end for you to scan. But yeah, that's the differences between the two boxes. So now I'll be comparing the launchers. Right here we have the Japanese version and the Korean version. So the Japanese is a little bit more brighter in the colors, while the Korean version a little bit lighter, you could say. But really, let's just show the bottoms. Now, they both have the little symbol that says Made in Vietnam. They're both made in Vietnam, so that'd be pretty obvious. Virtually no difference, only this one's a little bit more brighter in color. But yeah, it's pretty similar. So anyways, let's move on to the next one. So now I'll be moving on to the B-14 Wyvern Armed Massive. Right here is the Japanese version, and right here is the Korean version. So let's first start off with the difference between the box. So with the Japanese version, has the Takara logo on there. Started Wyvern Armed Massive, you know, not too much. With the Korean version, has the Korean writing on it, and it has the Young Toys logo along with the Takara logo. And of course, Korean writing and stuff like that. That's really all for the front, but now we'll be moving on to the back. So now I'll be at the back. So once again, this is the Japanese version and this is the Korean version. So let's just first start off with the Japanese version. You can see all the writing and stuff like that. Advertises the Bay logger. Has the warning on the bottom. For the Korean version, the writing looks a little bit neater. The font looks probably different, or it might be the same. Can't really tell for sure. Has the little banner where the Beys are battling, which is actually in the front of the box, but I put in the back to replace the Bay logger advertisement because there's no Bay logger. And of course, different warnings. So anyways, let's move on to the next part of this view. So now I'll be comparing it part by part. So the top one right here is the Japanese version, Japanese, and the bottom right here is the Korean version. So let's first start with the layers. So the Japanese version has a little bit more darkish colors, while the Korean version is a little bit more vibrant. Now the disc, it's a little bit more shinier. The Korean version is a little bit more shinier disc if we're comparing it. Could be the type of metal they're using, but I don't really know for sure. Drivers, here's the Japanese driver, the Korean driver. There's like virtually no difference between these two. So we'll move on to the bottom now. Now we'll be comparing the back. So this right here is the Japanese version, this right there is the Korean version. So you can see the teeth and such stuff like that. But again, there's no difference, and that's a really good thing with the Korean version. Now we'll show these Beys fully assembled. Now we'll be comparing the Beys fully assembled. Right here we have the Japanese version, and right there we have the Korean version. So as I said before, there's no difference really. So now I'll just flip and show you the bottom. Once again, there's no difference. It's really awesome. Anyways, we'll move on to the test launch, and then after the next Bey. So now I'll first launch the Japanese version. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. So Wyvern's not really a crazy base, not really an attack type base. It mostly goes in the middle, you know, pretty awesome. So now I'll be stopping the Japanese version. We'll move on to the Korean version. Pretty nice. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. So once again, no real difference. A little bit more shinier in the colors, it gets a little bit more brighter. But I mean, yeah, they're almost the exact same Bey, and that's really awesome. And once again, Bey mostly goes in the middle. But anyway, so we'll be moving on to our next Bey, which is Excalibur Force Extreme. So now we'll be moving on to the B-23 Starter Excalibur Force Extreme. Right here is the Japanese version, and right there's the Korean version. So let's start comparing what the box is. So with the Japanese version, it has Japanese writing and only the Takara Tomy logo on the box. While for the Korean version, it has the Korean writing on it, and along with the Young Toys logo and the Takara Tomy logo, and also the ages 6 and plus logo on there. So a few extra logos. Anyways, we're moving on to the back of the boxes. So now I'll be comparing the back of the boxes. Right here we have the Japanese version, and right there the Korean version. So let's start with the Japanese version. So Japanese, you can see all the writing on there. Advertises the Bey logger, has the warnings there. Yeah, it's pretty much it really. For the Korean version, a little bit neater with the font, or kind of hard to tell really. Anyways, it has a little battle thing there, like a little banner. It's actually in the front of the box, but they put it on the back because it's replacing the Bey logger since these new products don't come with a Bey logger. And of course the warnings are different. Anyways, let's move on now. We'll be comparing the stickers. Right here we have the Japanese version, and right there we have the Korean version. So there's really not too many differences, not even in the gradients. It's good, it's very hard to tell, which is really amazing how similar there are. Anyways, we'll assemble the Beys and show it to you part by part. So now I'll be comparing part by part. The top right here is the Japanese version, the bottom right here is the Korean version. So with the layers, not too much of a difference really. You can see no difference between the Japanese and the Korean version. Now for the disc on the Korean version is a bit more shinier than the disc in the Japanese disc. Drivers are almost exactly the same. Now I'll just flip this for you, if you want to see the teeth and stuff like that. Yeah, like I said before, virtually there's no differences between these two. And again, that's a very good thing. They're very similar, and it's crazy how close they are. Another thing I like to bring up before we continue this comparison, the launchers before, almost exactly the same like the launchers. They're the same model, same thing and stuff like that. Anyways, let's get these Beys assembled. So now I'll be comparing both the Beys when they're fully assembled. Right here we have the Japanese version, and right there's the Korean version. And as you can see, there's really no differences. Anyways, here's the bottom. Yeah, I mean, between these, both of them, they're exactly the same, and that's really awesome. The only real way you can really tell is just because of the shininess on the Korean version. Anyways, let's move on to the test launch. So now I'll be launching the Japanese version. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. So the Japanese version, there's really it's an attack type base, so it mostly goes around. Not the best launch, but you know, you get the point. Japanese version. Then moving on to the Korean version, see if there's any real major differences. There isn't. And yeah, I was right. There really is no difference, and again, it's really amazing how similar they are and how close they are. And I gotta say that the Korean version is just so like authentic and original compared to like the original. The same mold, only a few differences in the box and maybe in the color. I think they just probably updated most of them. But I mean, other than that, I mean, this was really awesome. So yeah, the giveaway in this giveaway expires on May 1st, 2016, and the prize will be for the first prize, the Excalibur Force Extreme, second prize will be Wyvern Armed Massive, and for our third prize will be the Red Bay Launcher. So what you have to do to enter is basically just type in the comments which version you prefer, the Korean version of these bays or the Japanese version. Anyways, thank you for watching, I can't wait to see your thoughts.